So XXL Magazine tweeted out top 5 rappers dead or alive on Twitter, and it got me thinking, what are my top 5 favorite rappers of all time? This list is in no specific order. These are just my top 5 favorite rappers of all time. This list may change in the future once I listen to more and more, rap artists out in the industry. And one other thing, I just want to say that this is strictly my opinion. So if you disagree with me or you have a different opinion than me, that's completely fine. Starting out, the first rapper that really came to mind whenever I seen this list was honestly Eminem. Just a few videos back, I actually made a video discussing a song on Eminem's Music to Be Murdered by Side B that I thought was completely underrated, called These Demons. I gotta say, man, Eminem is among my favorite rappers of all time, undoubtedly. I remember growing up as a kid listening to him. The first song that I actually heard by Eminem, I was like 10 years old. I remember a friend of mine came over to the house. We sat down, he showed me Insane by Eminem, and we sat there and we laughed. We laughed at the song literally the whole way through it because we just thought it was so screwed up. But it was the start of something great. After that, Eminem became like my prime artist that I listened to all throughout my childhood, all throughout my teenage years, and he's somebody I still listen to just about every day on a day-to-day basis. I started out listening to Eminem really by picking up his Recovery album. I remember back in 2010 when it first dropped, I actually had $20, and I kid you not, I got on iTunes and I purchased the complete album, and I listened to it on repeat for hours upon hours on end. Songs like Untitled, 25 to Life, Cinderella Man, Seduction, Won't Back Down, On Fire, all of those were absolutely amazing songs. After Recovery, though, I went and I checked out some of his older music that I actually fell in love with even more so than Recovery. I remember listening to Kill You. I actually went out and bought the full Marshall Mathers LP song as an album, and I remember sitting down listening to it on repeat. Kill You was one of my favorite songs on the album for the longest time. The Way I Am, Who Knew, Marshall Mathers, I'm Back, The Real Slim Shady, Kim, Under the Influence, Amityville, Criminal, Drug Ballad, all of those were like absolute fire songs. And to this day, I believe that Kim or Criminal is my favorite song on the album. Then I got into listening to the Slim Shady LP, going through listening to songs like Guilty Conscience, listening to Role Model, listening to Rock Bottom, Just Don't Give a Fuck, As the World Turns, Bad Meets Evil, Brain Damage, My Name Is, all of those as well, absolute fire songs. Rock Bottom was by far, though, my favorite song on the album, probably my second favorite Eminem song of all time. Then we got the Eminem Show. I remember checking this album out and I instantly fell in love with it. It became my favorite Eminem album of all time, and it still is till this day. Sing for the Moment is an absolute fire song. Superman is lit too. I love Superman. Cleaning Up My Closet, I like the way that he rhymes in that. Business, for some reason I've been listening to Business on the Eminem Show quite a bit here recently. My Dad's Gone Crazy, that's an okay song. Till I Collapse, like that song is fire. I could name off just about all of the songs on the album. Like the whole album itself was just completely badass. I then decided to go check out the Encore album, right? And I remember listening to it, and some of the songs on there absolutely just made me laugh, like Big Weenie. I remember sitting down and listening to Big Weenie as a kid and just laughing my ass off. Then watching the music video to just lose it. I just remember sitting there watching that music video for the first time and just completely just dying of laughter. It was just a great music video. Songs like Mockingbird, Spend Some Time, Like Toy Soldiers, Rain Man, Yellow Brick Road, those were some damn fire songs. It's not my favorite album, but it's not my least favorite album either. Next we got Relapse. Man, Relapse, I feel like is an underrated album. I will be honest, bro. I got into listening to it, 3 a.m. I remember sitting down and trying to listen to the full album. At first, I couldn't get into it, but then, after time went on, I was like, this album actually ain't that bad. Listening to songs like 3 a.m., Bagpipes from Baghdad, Insane, which is the song that really got me listening to Eminem in the first place. We Made You, listening to Stay Wide Awake, Deja Vu, Beautiful, which is by far my favorite Eminem song of all time, Underground, My Darling, Careful What You Wish For. This whole album I feel like is completely underrated, and I love it. I like a lot of his newer stuff too, not as much as his older stuff, but I have been trying to get into a lot of his newer stuff, and the more I listen to it, the more I actually can say I vibe with it. enough with Eminem. Let's talk about the next artist. The next artist that really came to mind was honestly Hopsin. I remember I started listening to Hopsin whenever he dropped Ill Mind of Hopsin 5. I remember a friend of mine coming to school. This was back when I was in middle school. And he was like, yeah, man, you guys should go check out this artist named Hopsin. His song Ill Mind of Hopsin 5 is absolutely awesome. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go check out this artist. You know, I went and I checked him out. I found out that he was really inspired by Eminem. That was one of his biggest inspirations. And I was like, oh, man, well, this guy's probably going to be pretty damn good. And I sat down and I listened to Ill Mind of Hopsin 5. And I was like, man, this is an absolute fire track. And that guy, they kind of pushed me to check out some of his other stuff. So, I checked out his album. Raw. There was Sag My Pants on it. There was Nocturnal Rainbows, which is a fucking awesome song. Pillow Man, Blood Energy Potion. Like, the album was overall pretty damn good. I remember a little while after that, he dropped the album Knock Madness. It was a good song. The Friends Are Knocking is a good one. Nolly Tray Flip. I Need Help. Hip Hop Sinister. Still Got Love for You. What's My Purpose? Those are some good damn songs too. Rip Your Heart Out also. I love that song too. And then he dropped Pound Syndrome. I remember going and actually picking this up on CD and sitting down and absolutely loving the album. I bumped the album on repeat, listening to the song Ill Mind of Hopsin 7. I can't express how much I love this song. This song is absolutely awesome. Ramona was a good song. Mr. Jones was a good song. My Love was a good song. Honestly, one of my least favorite songs, I think he actually dropped a music video for it too, was Fly. I don't know, I just didn't really vibe to that song too well. And then his latest album, No Shame. No Shame is arguably my favorite album by Hopsin, my favorite work that's out by Hopsin, right? It's got several songs that I truly, truly love. Tell 'Em Who You Got It From is probably my favorite Hopsin song of any time. Of all time, I mean to say. The song, I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's just the beat and the way that he raps in the song. I don't know. I just think it is an absolute, almost perfect song. If not a perfect song, in my opinion. I love the song. I Must Be On Something. Black Sheep. Both of those are good songs, too. Panorama City. That's a pretty damn good song. The Purge. That's an okay song. Witch Doctor's also an okay song. I like his more... I don't know, I like the songs that I feel like I get a deeper meaning into from Hopsin, right? And one of them is Tell 'Em Who You Got It From. I absolutely love that song. It's this album, No Shame, is probably my favorite album out by Hopsin. I remember him dropping COVID Mansion, that song there not too long ago, and ever since he has dropped that song, I've sat down and listened to that song on repeat several times now, as a matter of fact. Alright, so enough with Hopsin. Let's get into the next artist. Honestly, the next artist that came to mind was XXXTENTACION, man. I've talked about this guy before. I absolutely love this guy's music, man. It sucks to say that he passed away back in 2018. At that time, I was at a very dark time in my life, and I remember just being able to sit down and listen to his music and just absolutely relate to just about all of it. I will be straight up honest with y'all. He's still one of my favorite artists of all time. I can still sit down and listen to a lot of his music and just absolutely love the way it sounds, right? I remember a friend of mine, somebody I'd honestly consider a brother, to be totally honest. I sit down and I talk to him just about every day still, ever since he got me into listening to X. But back in 2017, he got me into listening to X's, 17 album. He got me into listening to, songs from Members Only, Volume 1, 2, and 3. He got me into checking that out. I remember not long after getting into those albums, the type of music from X, I remember sitting down and finding out that he actually dropped Question Mark. And I know it's one of his most popular songs, man, but I remember sitting down and listening to the song Sad so much that at the time, this was summer break. I remember summer break, sitting there listening to it, and I was at my mother's house. And I legitimately listened to the song so much over summer break, I remember my mom yelling at me eventually one day and was like, yeah, can you actually change that to a different fucking song? We've heard that song 1,000 times. I love the song, man. It's an absolutely awesome song. I cannot stress to you how much I love the song. I remember sitting down and listening to Changes, and I don't know what it was about that song, but to be totally honest, I fucking cried, man. That is a good-ass song. It's not so much, him being a straight up rapper, he's also a singer, and I like the way that he mixes up his music, but you could also consider the man a rapper, and I like just about all of his music. Next up, we got Juice WRLD. I love Juice WRLD's music, man. I don't listen to it as much now as I used to. That's just a definite truth. Like, that's just the definite truth. I don't listen to him as much as I used to, but I love all of his music. He's somebody that I feel like is just really overall different. Maybe that's because he, really focuses on freestyling in his music more so than, actually, sitting down and actually writing music. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But he's just somebody that I feel like is just completely different. It sucks to say that he passed away, this time last year as well, because, I feel like that he had the potential to make like an even bigger name for himself because of how good he was at what he done, rapping and whatnot. I remember sitting down there and watching his freestyles that he would do that would last like an hour long, and he would sit there and he would freestyle, constantly, and the shit would make sense, and it was awesome. I was like, man, this guy is cool as hell. And then after he passed, listening to the song Godzilla with him and Eminem, I was like, holy shit, this is badass, man. Legends Never Die, the album that dropped this year, 2020, was a pretty good album. I will be honest. Death Race for Love. I remember sitting there and listening to that song in the math tutoring center at my college. Just sitting there listening to that song, doing math homework, man. Or that album, I mean to say, while doing homework. I love Who Shot Cupid. That's probably my favorite song on the album. On God is another good song. Syphilis is a good song. Robbery is a good song. Rider is a good song. Fast is a good song. Empty is a good song. Probably my second favorite song on the entire album. Overall, the album is fucking awesome. Goodbye and Good Riddance. That was the album that, whenever it dropped, that's the album that really got me into listening to Juice. Listening to All Girls Are the Same. Listening to Wasted with Lil Uzi, listening to Black and White, Long Gone, Candles, Used To is probably my favorite Juice WRLD song of all time, as a matter of fact. Sitting down, listening to Candles as well, Scared of Love, End of the Road, all of those, like all of his music, it's just something that feels different, that's something I like about Juice WRLD. Then listening to his song, like Legends is an overall badass song too. I remember listening to it, and it was really like a tribute to artists such as X and Lil Peep, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, I love the song. I feel like it was a really respectful, song to release at the time. Now, last but not least, I gotta say Lil Uzi Vert, man. I remember back in 2017, the same guy, as a matter of fact, that got me into listening to X is the same guy that got me into listening to Uzi, as a matter of fact. I remember sitting down with him. We would listen to the song 7 a.m. from Love Is Rage so much. It finally got to the point that I was like, hey man, who is that song by? And what is the name of the song? And he told me it's 7 a.m. by Lil Uzi Vert. And I remember looking him up on, YouTube and checking out his entire Love Is Rage album, right? And going through and listening to it and bumping it. And I was like, man, this guy's pretty damn good. How did I not know about this guy before? And I remember sitting there bumping songs like Right Now, Enemies, Banned from TV, Ballin', which is probably my favorite song on the entire album, and just absolutely falling in love with the music, man. Uzi vs. the World, that was a good album. Canadian Goose, Monty Longer, P's and Q's. Then checking out the Perfect Love tape. There's Do What I Want. Then there's Eraser Social, 7 Million. All of those pretty lit songs. Love Is Rage 2 is okay. I like No Sleep Leak, Sauce It Up. X, Dark Queen, XO Tour Life, those songs. Not a big fan of Neon Guts, though. Don't really like that song. And then we got Eternal Take, which dropped here this past year, and it's probably my favorite album of all 2020. Just to be straight up honest, I love the deluxe edition. I feel like the deluxe edition really dropped some better tracks than on the original album. Honestly, Myron, that's a badass song. Bean, Kobe, right? There is Strawberry Peels, which is probably my second favorite song on the entire album as a whole. There are, songs like Baby Pluto, You Better Move, which is probably my favorite song on the entire album. There is That Way, P2, Chrome Heart Tags. Those kind of songs. I absolutely fell in love with the album. The album was my favorite album of 2020 by far. Now, those are just my top 5 favorite rappers of all time. You know, that list may change. This list may change in the future. You know, that's just what I prefer. This is just the music that I prefer to listen to. If you guys have a different opinion, a different take, that's fine. That's all on you, man. So if you guys agree with my, take on this, or disagree with my take on this, just let me know down in the comments. And if you disagree, tell me what your top 5 list is. I'm really interested to see what you guys have to say. Anyways, though, I'm going to cut it off here, guys. Thank you all for tuning into this video. If you guys enjoyed, please go ahead and smash like. It would be super greatly appreciated. I love y'all. Stay beautiful. Do not go ugly on me either. And I'll see you all in the next one.